Are you watching me on Jitsi, or have you got that?
I've got both of them up.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Okay. So, yeah, you got two. Isn't that wonderful? You have two views of me.
Yes, stereo. Not
Okay.
quite VR. It's not like one for each eye.
And also, I noticed with Jitsi there's a lag. So that's the control over the connection. So there's a universal thing. The interesting thing with Jitsi,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll end this part because it's getting on to it. It's after 10 past. One of them is you open the chat. One of them is put your hand up, but they share your screen. Yeah. And no, that's not the one. Actually, it's the little three dots on the corner. But you know what? We'll play with that if you feel like it at the end. Let's just go into the meeting.
Three dots. Select sound device. Invite someone. Enable low bandwidth.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there's another one. Now I'm trying to remember where that one is. There's another one that allows you to pick the bandwidth.
Oh.
Yeah.
Enter tiles.
And there's just one called standard, and that one fixed all the lag problems.
Okay.
But I can't remember where it was now. So we'll look at that later. Okay. All right, I'm ready to go. And we've been recording in.
Yeah,
okay.
Recording all the way
Lawrence
through.
Salter, Gabriel Island, British Columbia, Canada. And the past week, I did definitely fool around with Jitsi some. I think that was in the past week. Yeah. And learned some more things. Yeah, Friday night I set up a meeting and I joined it from 3 different devices, and I learned something about it. So I'm going to count that as something. And so that's a major thing of what I did the past week. There may be more, but that's all I can think of. Coming week, I do want to do the boring things, the charitable status and the service mark, the trademark. Trademark has some time. I am not sure about the charitable status, given the U.S. tax deadline has been moved from April 15th to July. So anyways, I'll get that in and see what happens. And blocks is my laptop died. Still being diagnosed. It probably is just something to do with the power. Anyways, I'm working through a few things, but I'm working off my Linux box. And so right now on Jitsi, I'm from the Linux box, but I don't really have sound or I do have audio, and so that but not, I have incoming audio, but I don't have the microphone, so I can't remember exactly. I need to find a mic or set up a mic that it's got the separate mic and thing. It also has a mic headset input, but it didn't work. So anyway, that's a block because I do a lot from the laptop. And so that's it for me.
Okay, it's Michael Olchik, Saskatoon, Canada. This past week, I didn't even get the stand-up posted for last week. I didn't get much of anything done. We did get some stuff done around the house and my wife's honey-do list. That's good. Got a bunch more stuff to do outside, which is probably going to interfere with what's happening this week. I did look into Jitsi just a little bit, and we were able to get the Zoom password added to the invite. So I guess we're going to have to decide whether we're going to use Zoom or whether we're going to use Jitsi. Probably Zoom for now until we get another Dropbox account set up, because we won't be able to record on Jitsi until we do Dropbox. Yeah, is what I
Agreed.
So I'll just remove the Jitsi from the invite, and then maybe that's the way we'll go, at least for the next couple weeks. Next week, I'm hoping to get some stuff ordered. If you remember from a couple weeks ago, I blew up my Raspberry Pi, plugging it into a robotic truck kind of thing. I haven't replaced it yet, and I'm kind of stalled at that point. What else was I doing?
Can you go into detail on that in the crosstalk?
Sure.
I'm really interested.
Well, there's not a whole lot to say. Everything tested out. I plugged it all together again, turned it on. No smoke, nothing interesting. It just, the Pi didn't start up. There's no little power LED. It's just, it's done. So I still don't know what I did wrong. I tested everything out one piece at a time, and everything looked good, and then now it doesn't. So, for next week, like I said, I'll try to get some parts ordered, and I can't really see anything else getting done for the week. It would be nice if I got some circuits built, but I don't see it happening. Maybe this next weekend, like the weekend after this one. So, blocks. It's spring. There's stuff to do outside. I guess back to you, Lauren. You're muted.
Okay. So let's see. So I'll give myself a 6. The team 8. And process improvement. Actually probably focus on the conferencing and getting it across, and no problem just carrying on with Zoom until we can do a Dropbox, get a Dropbox thing. So so there's a wiki. Yeah, we'll talk about that in crosstalk. But anyway, that's it for me.
I'm going to give myself maybe 3. Team, I'll go with. Well, you got stuff done. 7 or 8, and process improvement. I think getting either Zoom or Jitsi figured out is probably what we need to do. Just occurred to me that Joe is paying money for Dropbox. So I'll have to find out which account that's connected to. If that's the info at WIKISPEED, I should be able to run the Jitsi from there, and it will record direct to Dropbox. That is on my backlog for this coming week. I think that would be a very good investment in time. If that works, then we have a path going forward. The Jitsi didn't require a password. You can set up a password, but you don't have to, which was kind of nice. And I guess that's about it. You want any public crosstalk, or you want to go offline? You're muted.
Yeah, a little public crosstalk is good. Yeah, so I just want to know. So first of all, my comment is, it's probably a sign that we're really making progress with Pi, that we blew one.
Well, I mean, I had it plugged into the TV. I downloaded Noobs. I installed it. I got all the patches for the various stuff. Downloaded the
Right.
GitHub. Got it compiled. Everything looked good. Plugged it into the board, and actually didn't power up the rest of it, and it complained that I couldn't remote log in. I had to go in and turn on SSH. Right. So the instructions didn't mention SSH, and then when I disconnected the TV and the keyboard and the mouse and all that, and I plugged it into the board and powered it up off of the two 18650 rechargeable cells, power LED on the little truck thing powered up. It's blinking green the way it's supposed to, and there's absolutely nothing from the Raspberry Pi. Like normally there's a little red LED. I got nothing.
Right.
So
it was the power on, and is this the truck we're using? Is this?
I know this is the one that I bought for $115, and it was, oh yeah, well everything's the way I need it to be, so it'll be fast and quick, and it didn't work out that way.
Yeah, strange.
It's a kit.
You think it's something funny about the power on it?
Well, I checked the power coming out of it. It's 5 volts. It's solid. The little regulator built onto the board feeds unregulated power to the motors. So it's like when the batteries are full, it's 8.2 volts, and when the batteries are pretty much empty, it's down to about 6.5 kind of thing. But it's a steady, solid 6.5 or 5 volts to the Pi all the time. I can't find anything wrong. I don't know what I did, unless I managed to get like the header plugged in so that I had the row number 1 plugged into row number 2, and row number 2 not plugged in at all. This is the only thing I can come up with. I don't have any pictures of it when I plugged it together. I can't tell because, of course, I took it apart and put it back together again. Anyway.
Oh, so what were you using the pins? You had to use the pins because it's a truck. Is that right?
The kit has the Raspberry Pi in the middle. It has a top hat that deals with the power, and then from the power board it distributes to the motor controller, and it goes to the servo controller. So there's 4 or 5 cables plugged into it that go into the servo and the motor control. And I got all of that built and tested, and everything was good before I put the Raspberry Pi in it. And like I said, you have the Raspberry Pi.
My question is,
plug something in on the top, and
was something plugged in? Were you using one of the 40 pins, or some of the 40 pins?
Because it was a top hat, it plugged into both rows of 40 pins.
Okay.
And that's that's how it powered up the Raspberry Pi, and that's how it was getting the signals from the Pi. For the Pi to tell it what to do, right?
So there's input pins, there's input power pins on that. But that's the first time you've used those. Otherwise, you've just used the power in.
Yeah, the micro USB thing.
Yeah. So
it could have been broken before. When I take it apart now and I plug in the micro USB, nothing happens on the on the Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
No, I mean that's suspicious. It sounds like the kit maybe is wired wrong.
Well, but I mean it's a commercially Suncatcher is the name of the.
I know them. They make little solar toys.
Yep, and they make all these boards separately. So you can buy the top hat for the power. You can buy the servo control. You can buy the motor control. So these are all off-the-shelf parts for them. What they did is they combined it with a laser cut base, the motors, the servos, and some cables. So in terms of it being a kit, it's all of their stuff is off the shelf. They didn't have to add any of that stuff.
So, okay.
I haven't contacted their tech support. I'm not actually sure even how I'd ask.
Yeah, this is my experience from computer stuff is don't assume you did something wrong. You slow yourself down if you don't, you in parallel troubleshoot, but tell them about it because they may come up with something right away and say, uh-oh, happened again, here's the problem.
Yeah, maybe, because like they didn't supply the Raspberry Pi. They supplied everything else, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I've been in situations where it's like $1 million problem for a company, and it's either my code or someone else's code. And at first I would always check out mine, always, so I would feel solid before I talk to other people. I quit that. it's a joint search for a problem and get the word out as fast as you can because someone may know something.
Yeah, well, I don't know how easy Suncatcher is to get a hold of. They're about 12 hours difference in time, but I guess
You
email.
know, some of those companies on the other side of the world are very responsive. So use the email and see what happens.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about before we go offline?
No, yeah, let's go offline.
Okay.
Then, actually, one more.
Okay.
That's the I was going to try and set the thing on. Try and find that setting. That might be under settings.
Oh, for the bandwidth.
Yeah.
I'm actually quite surprised.
Sure.
I've got my phone going on video and the laptop going on video, and we're recording, and I haven't seen anything drop out yet. This is quite unusual.
Share.
All the kids in the neighborhood must be outside playing instead of on Fortnite.
Okay, manage video quality. There it is, manage video quality. Check it out on Jitsi.
Okay.
It's the 3 dots, manage video quality. So I was getting a lag. I just dropped to standard definition and it worked.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just like all the options from the desktop. So you'll see those when you.
I'll see what I can come up with. If the next invite should either have just Jitsi or just Zoom, I won't put both of them.
Yeah. Yeah, so on the Android device, it says enable low bandwidth mode, but on the laptop, on the desktop, it says manage bandwidth.
Okay.
It gives you more options. So that's cool. And now I'm done with the
okay. We will stop
recorded